We've been waiting so long, the season's finally here. Soak it up and cheer, cause T-Wolves Talk is here.
Yeah, I think starting off with the Ben Simmons news, there's kind of a big explosion about, and the news, I don't even know if it was really like that much breaking news. It was kind of stuff we already knew, but yeah, what can you break down kind of what news you saw?
Yeah, I think it was I'm not exactly sure if it was a tweet or if it was on one of the NBA programs that ESPN or
I think it was
whoever put out. But they sometimes do that, like they'll take quotes from the shows or whatever. And there's a quote that came out from Shams a couple days ago, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday. And it said the Timberwolves are still heavily invested in one of the top teams.
No, it said they were the most interested team in Ben Simmons.
Most interested team, yeah.
Mhm.
And they're still heavily involved in talks with the Sixers. But like you said, that's definitely already pretty known information. Like we kind of already knew that. And I think the same thing still stands with the Sixers and the Ben Simmons situation. The asking price, Daryl Morey is trying to get for Ben Simmons, in everyone's opinion, is way too much. Like 3 to 4 first round picks and young prospects for a borderline star at the moment is extremely difficult to kind of make happen, especially with teams that are already kind of a little bit nervous about the last postseason that Ben Simmons just had, being scared to shoot layups and 4-foot jumpers.
They're not willing to give up the whole franchise for that, right? No. But a thing that Darren said about, I think Darren was the one who said this. I don't know if it was Darren or Shams, basically the same thing. But what they said was that the Timberwolves are going to need to get a third team involved because as our upper management has said, we're not going to trade D'Lo, we're not going to trade Cat, and we're not going to trade Ant. So we're going to have to get a third team involved if we want to make a move for Ben Simmons. And there's also reports saying that we're just going to wait it out. And at some point, he's going to have to lower his expectations because Ben Simmons, let's face it, is not going to play for the 76ers ever again. And there's even reports that he's not going to even report to camp. So,
yeah, there are two things to dissect that you mentioned. First was the waiting it out, or first was the third team has to get involved for the trade, and it's an interesting piece of news because that really does tell the story of what the Timberwolves want to give up. They're not going to give up any of the 3 players they believe are on max contracts or going to be on max contracts, which include Ant, D'Lo, and Cat. So those players are untouchable at the moment, as you just heard from that quote. So that leaves pretty much Malik Beasley, who's obviously we're in a tight cap situation right now. I think we have $4 million of luxury tax that we can dive into. And that would be just enough to re-sign Vando. But it goes to show there's going to need to be a third team with a little bit more cap space that's going to have to take Malik off the hands or some of the prospects, and the Sixers will get the picks. So that is a really interesting part. And the other one is the waiting it out. I think that is the boat every other team is in right now. And I don't think the Sixers believe the Wolves are the front runner right now for one huge reason. And that's because the Trailblazers, I think, are still in the sweepstakes with the whole Damian Lillard situation. Like, he said he wants to stay right now, but if the Blazers do what they've been doing for the past, 7 years, being mediocre.
Well, I mean, okay, not mediocre. They're
not
better
mediocre,
than.
But if
I would trade to be a Blazers fan. Anyway.
Oh, I agree. I agree. But if they're stuck in that 5, 6, 7,
they're in the worst,
seed range,
one of the worst spots to be.
Yeah, they're stuck in the mud at like that 5, 6, 7 seed again, and Damian Lillard's getting cold feet in the middle of the season. You could see that trade go down potentially, but for that to happen, Ben Simmons needs to report to training camp, and at the moment, the reports are he's not going to report to training camp. Is what we've heard. So one more thing to add on that too is that puts Morey in a terrible situation. The Wolves it puts the Wolves in the situation they want to be in. They want to be in this situation where it's going to force his hand to, lower the expectations of Ben Simmons.
So yeah, I want to ask you a question about something he said. So if Ben Simmons doesn't report to camp, he can't be traded like midway through the season.
I'm not sure. Is that a
no? That's just what I thought. I thought that's what you said because well, I mean, he could just sit out the season. Like he could hold out.
No, that's what I'm saying is if Ben Simmons isn't going to, go to training camp or report or take texts from teammates, he's going to get traded before the season. The Sixers can't afford to have that happening with when they still have the best center, in my opinion, in the league, and a lot of good young pieces and a lot of vets in place for this year to win. So they cannot afford to have another 76er-esque season, which they've had in the past. They can't afford that right now. They need a piece. So if that piece entails Malik Beasley, Jaden McDaniels, two young blossoming players and future first, I think they would jump on that to salvage a season and keep building upon that. Or they'd risk, I don't know. Would you wait till the middle of the season to acquire Lillard and put yourself in that bad of a
I mean,
place?
that's a big if. Like, I don't even know if that could even go down at the middle of the season. So yeah, like, so it's going to come down to they're going to get right up to the season and they're just going to take probably the best offer that fits their needs. And are we going to be able to give them the best offer? And I'm kind of doubtful about that. I think that other teams might be able to give them a better offer than Malik Beasley, Jaden McDaniels, and a few picks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've seen obviously some of the teams are out that are interested in Ben Simmons. Obviously, the Warriors and the Spurs have the other two highest odds. I think the Warriors have the highest betting odds right now. But yeah, the Spurs honestly are a slept on trade package. I mean, Jante Murray, Keldon Johnson, if they can offer up 2 first-round picks, that's really intriguing too. 2 great two-way players who are super young.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Simmons would probably fit the San Antonio culture. I
Oh,
mean,
Poppy would love that, dude.
Dude can
Pops would love
defend.
that.